Self-directed Roth IRA strategies. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. In today's video, we're going to be chatting about self-directed Roth IRA strategies, some advantages, disadvantages, some personal stories that I think you guys will enjoy. So I'm lucky enough to be joined by Isaac Rodriguez, who's a client of IRA Financial, a key employee also of IRA Financial. So it's going to be a fun video, and look forward to discussing self-directed Roth IRA strategies with you, Isaac. So thanks for thanks for joining. So obviously the whole concept, I'll just briefly explain what a Roth IRA strategy from a conversion standpoint is you have a pre-tax IRA. Now, a pre-tax IRA, which you know because you worked for a company and you actually rolled your funds from a 457B into an IRA, and those were pre-tax funds, meaning you got a tax deduction when you put the funds in, and once you're 59 and a half, you can pull the funds out just for tax, no 10% penalty. But if you pull the funds out pre-59 and a half, you're going to pay tax and a 10% penalty. Why? Because the government doesn't trust us to save. A Roth IRA, which was created in 1997 by Senator Roth, is basically just an after-tax account. You do not get a tax deduction for putting the money in, but if you're 59 and a half and the Roth's been open at least 5 years, all the distributions are tax-free, right? So as a tax lawyer, the Roth IRA is a really exciting potential tax strategy because you can turn taxable income into tax-free, tax-sheltered income. So since 2010, there are no income limitations for conversions, meaning if you're Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, or Isaac and Adam, anyone could convert to Roth. But if you convert a pre-tax asset to Roth, you're going to pay tax on the cash you convert or the fair market value of the asset, right? So if you bought the real estate for 100K and 3 years later you're thinking of converting, it's worth 120 or 80, you pay tax on the fair market value on the date of conversion. It's ordinary income. It's added to your income. And on your 1040 the following year, you pay tax on that amount plus all the other W-2 or income you have, and that determines your tax rate. So I wanted to chat with you.
I didn't know this now that you're bringing this up. So I have a property with my solo 401k, fully paid for, no loans, no leveraging. Right. And so you're telling me that if I want to convert this property, this asset into Roth, I can do that?
You can do it, absolutely.
Is it even with a solo 401k?
Anything. IRA, solo 401k, there's no income limitations. So why does the government like this? Well, think about it, right? Because you're paying tax up front, right? So let's say you're 50 years old, okay? And you're like, yeah, I can leave it in an IRA for another 10 years and eventually I'll pull it out without penalty. The IRS is waiting for that tax. Whereas if you said, you know what, I'm just going to do a conversion today, the IRS is getting tax money up front, which they love, right? What government in the world doesn't like tax money? They like it. They get to use it for roads, education, military, spending, whatever the hell they do with it. They love it. So yes, down the road, it hurts them because if you have a Roth, Isaac, so long as you're 59 and a half, Roth's been open 5 years, bang. All that cash flow, you can pull out. If you sell the asset for $20 million, tax-free, right? So that's the advantage of the Roth. The disadvantage is you got to pay the tax up front, which you got to make sure you have the cash, right?
And it's the fair market value
of
the asset.
Of that asset. So, assets have appreciated over the last 3-4 years.
And if it's cash?
Cash is cash, right? If you have $100, you pay tax on the $100. Okay. And you got to pay.
Depending on your tax bracket, correct?
Right, but it's added. So let's say you make 100K with all your other income, and now you convert an asset of 200K. Your taxable income for that year is now 300K. So you want to be able to pay the tax.
Right.
But the upside's huge, right? So think about it. Let's use your story because I know we talked about this, a while back. So I remember you approached me and you're like, I'm thinking of doing a conversion, right?
Yeah, like 6-7 years ago. I think it was. I was like, what do you think about me doing a conversion? And at that time, you told me, I don't think it's worth it.
Oh, no.
I don't recall why, but he said something like, I don't think it's worth it.
Okay, so
for you, I don't think it works out. I think that's what you said.
Okay, so without getting into all the numbers and your age, I don't want to go there. But even though you're a young guy,
Well, it's okay to be old.
I guess it's better than the alternative of not getting old is probably 6 feet under. So not good either. So, okay. So probably what I was thinking, and obviously like, I don't remember what I had for breakfast, so I'm not sure I remember what I said 6 years ago, but just kind of thinking about things, how it approached.
Why would you have said that?
So
what would be the factors that you would probably
first
say?
thing is probably age, I'd say, and not that you're old, but I'd be like, okay, the younger you are, obviously conversions have more value, right?
Oh, okay.
If you're 70 versus 30,
right,
30 years old have more upside to grow.
Okay.
Right. Number two is, can you afford the tax? Maybe at that point you told me, well,
maybe it was high.
Right. You had a lot of, your tax rate was maybe higher.
Right.
You had a lot of, and
I think that's what it was.
I think you had some cash coming in. You're like, I don't know if I want to pay 35% on this asset. I could have said also, maybe think about it. Let's see what happens with the price. Maybe the price drops.
The price
of the real estate. So let's say you bought the real estate for 100,000 and then there's a crash and it's worth 60. Obviously you want to convert it 60, not 100.
Right. Okay.
So those are the things I talk about. I also always say, maybe that's just a lawyer in me. It's like, there's a potential for a disaster, right? Let's say you use the example of, Enron or Bear Stearns or even Bitcoin, right? Imagine you converted Bitcoin at 62,000 and now it's at 30. You're not feeling so great, right? So that's the caveat, right? That's always the floor, is that you can lose money on your conversion.
Right. Well, I obviously listen to you.
Oh God!
I mean, he's
maybe
a tax attorney.
You should be like my kids and don't listen.
He has a tax attorney, so he's the founder of this. So obviously, I listened to.
Right, but that's
and I did very well. I still owned both properties. I get residual income, and I'm very happy. And actually, when I reach the age of wanting to withdraw, then I just pay whatever. Hopefully, I'm not in such a high tax bracket that I'll pay enough.
Right. So that you brought up an amazing point, Isaac. So that's something I should have mentioned before, is part of the equation is, okay, what do you think your tax bracket will be when you're in your 60s or 70s, right? If you feel like, I'm going to be retired, I don't need that much cash to live.
It's just to supplement your income. Then you could just take those distributions just to supplement.
Right. And income. So if your tax rate is low,
taxes is on that.
Right. If your tax rate is low when you're 65 or 70, maybe it's not worth converting, because let's say your tax rate is high in your 50s, right? Or in your 40s, you're like, hey, I pay 30% tax. But you're thinking, hey, when I'm 60s or 70s, I'm going to be chill. I'm probably not going to need a lot of money. My house is paid for. I don't need that much. Maybe my tax bracket will be 15 or 20%. And like you said, maybe I just needed to supplement my income. Maybe I'm going to take 20K a year, whatever, 15K, 20K. Like, who cares? Like, the tax bracket's not so big.
It's not that big, $2,000 a month more, just to to supplement your income, or whatever it is that's going to do it. It's that you're going to pay on that tax.
And it may not be horrible.
It's not the horrible. It's not the end of the world.
So that's
why I don't care that I didn't do the Roth, because it's not the end of the
world.
And of course I was going to listen to you anyway.
No, and the point is, no one knows, right? No one knows what the future is going to be, right? Whether it's Bitcoin, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, Enron, like no one knows what's going to happen in the future. SVB Bank we can use now. Like, believe it or not, I actually owned SVB bond. Okay, like I didn't have a lot in it, but it was the 8th biggest bank in the country. Like, who the heck thought it was going to go bankrupt? So you just don't know. So the downside of a conversion is you're paying tax up front to the IRS, and you're hoping in the future your asset's going to appreciate, but you don't know. Let's say I did that with SVB stock or First Republic stock. I would have taken a bath. I just would have given Joe Biden and the Democrats my tax. And guess what? Now the asset I converted is worthless. So maybe I was right.
Yeah.
The bottom line is you just don't know. But obviously the upside of the conversion is, let's say I did tell you to do it and you listened.
5 years later,
you would have, well, you're not 59 and a half yet, but once you hit it.
But if you hold it for 5 years.
And 59 and a half.
Oh, and 59 and a half.
Right. But the amount you convert, once you hit 59 and a half, the amount you convert, you can pull out too. Right. So if it's 59 and a half and 5 years, you can pull everything out tax free. So let's say you listen to me, you paid the tax 7 years ago, and now you're patient, 5 years are up, you're not 59 and a half.
Right.
Wait, starting at 60 years old, bang, you can start pulling out that 2K, 5K tax rate. But Isaac's point is fair. It's like, hey, I may only need 2K a month, 2,500 bucks a month. Like the tax rate's going to be low anyways. Like who cares?
Exactly.
So the bottom line is, I wish as a tax lawyer I can give you the answer whether you convert. The bottom line is, like Isaac said, it's facts and circumstances. There's sometimes not a right answer, right? You got to trust your gut. How faithful are you in your investment? SVB, no one thought Silicon Valley Bank.
But a lot of financial advisors do say Roth is king.
Yeah,
they do say Roth is king. But everyone is individually is different. I think.
Yeah, I wrote a book in God We Trust.
Different.
Yeah, I wrote a book in God We Trust and Roth Will Prosper. Like I'm a big Roth guy. All my retirement accounts are in Roth, but that's just me. I've done conversions over a number of years. I'm 47. I've been doing this for a bunch of years, doing conversions. So I kind of mapped it out, but it just worked for me. It doesn't always work. So that's the bottom line. Think about it. Talk to your advisor. If you're a client of IRA Financial, reach out to us. Like, you talk to tons of clients. Our team is amazing and always available to help, right?
Yes, correct.
So use us. If you're a client, if you're not a client, you should be a client, right? But seriously, think about it. It's a decision. Not always a right or wrong answer, but you definitely want to be thorough and thoughtful when making a decision, because ultimately, once you do it, you can't back out of it. Once you convert, and you're stuck with the consequences. Some usually good, but the Silicon Valley Bank example shows more recently, not always great. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Isaac. Don't forget to subscribe. We have an amazing YouTube channel. Also, if you have a comment, leave it. I do my best to answer all questions as quickly as possible. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope to see everyone again next time.